You either live by the gun or you die by the sword.
Nicho and Chris were dead to begin with. So are the Muppets. Whatever about that. As we kick off the Christmas season, at least me, with a bah humbug.
Not I love this movie.
I know you do. And welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast, MicroViews. I'm Nicho.
And I'm Chris.
And if you haven't figured it out, we are doing a Christmas Carol movie, but specifically
The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
This is... I am not an overly Christmassy person. I enjoy it. It is not my favorite holiday. Muppets Christmas Carol is the greatest Christmas adaptation movie of all times, and I will die on that hill. On that hill.
I'm going to piss you and a lot of people off with this review.
You can try. I have facts to hold mine up.
I have questions, so maybe you have answers, but...
I probably do, actually. I know a lot about this movie.
Alrighty. So, The Muppet Christmas Carol is based on the novel by Charles Dickens with screenplay by Jerry Jewell, directed by Brian Henson in his directorial debut. Mm-hmm. You might recognize his last name as he is the son of Jim Henson.
Yep, who had died just before this movie.
Starring Michael Caine as Scrooge.
Absolutely.
Dave Goelz as the Great Rizzo.
Yeah.
Robert Marley. Bunsen Honeydew.
Oh, no, sorry, the Great Gonzo, I believe.
The Great Gonzo, yes.
Yeah.
Bettina.
Yes.
Cratchit.
Yeah.
Rat and Zoot.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Whitmire as Rizzo the Rat.
My favorite character.
Bean Bunny.
Yes, also good.
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Beaker.
Yep.
Belinda.
Mm-hmm.
Beetle.
Yep.
Lips.
Yep.
And Pig Gentleman.
Absolutely.
I would love to, if that was my only movie title credit, I was Pig Gentleman in the whatever movie.
You should know that Pig Gentleman is a recurring character in the Muppets franchise. You could audition to be Pig Gentleman if you really, really wanted.
I'm going to have some questions for this. I will get to those at some point or another.
I probably have answers because, again, I know way too damn much about this movie.
Yes. So one thing I do appreciate when they started up this DVD was that Kermit is trying to get you to pay attention. It's a nice way
cute.
to, like, if the DVD's playing too long, to be like, oh, where's Kermit going to tell me to go now?
This is a throwback to the Muppets TV show DVD, which if you let it run too long, different cast members, because each DVD was themed to a different Muppet.
Okay.
And that Muppet would then be like, push the button. No, don't push it. This DVD's horrible. Turn it off now.
So I'm gonna.
So it's a bit of a nod.
Yeah, okay, so that's good. You're going to be very helpful on this.
I know a lot about the Muppets for no reason.
I watched this for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And our buddy J-Rad really got pissed off with me because, one, I know I'd seen parts of this movie, but I had never seen it in its completion.
Sure.
And it was also the first Muppet movie I had ever seen.
This is the first Muppet movie starring a human, so this is a good space to start.
Also, I did not like this when I first watched it.
That's fair. Muppets are divisive, I think.
Probably.
Muppets are divisive. There are some people who really enjoy the Muppets and the humor of the Muppets.
Well, I've only met people who love the Muppets because apparently I'm an asshole.
Well, unfortunately, the people who think the Muppets are funny, we generally find assholes funny. You will notice that there are two assholes who that's their entire person characters. They have a large fan base.
Yeah.
So, congratulations.
Also, go check out J-Rad. He's a good guy.
Absolutely.
And an asshole, so.
Well, yeah, you two can be the grumpy old men together.
Yeah. But one thing I don't understand is, and I didn't watch both versions, but...
Sure.
The wide is the theatrical version, and the extended is just your standard, like...
Yeah, okay, so
formatting?
Here's why.
Okay.
The original version is actually the, like, smaller DVD menu version because it includes the extra song When Love Is Gone, which is the song that the woman sings about how, like, oh, Cratchit doesn't love me anymore and he's turning into a grumpy old man. And if you watch the theatrical version, that part is cut.
Or Scrooge. Cratchit's Kermit.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Scrooge. And the original writing and directing for it, they wanted the song in. This movie was created before Disney owned the Muppets, but not by much. Disney did have some production rights at this point, and they already knew they were going to be the ones distributing and doing all the marketing for it. Like everyone knew that slowly Disney would be consuming the Muppets. So they were more willing to bend over a little bit for Disney's choices.
Okay.
So the theatrical version was released without the extra song, When Love Is Gone, which is sad because it's a very good song. Disney producers did not think that the younger audience would connect with a song about a man no longer loving someone and ditching her to go make more money. They didn't think that the target audience, which was at the time a younger group, Muppets was still very much a kids show with the exception of the TV show, which was very much for adults, so it was a confusing time.
I'm looking at you, Beauty and the Beast, and all the other movies about princesses kind of running away from true love.
Disney is a confusing person.
Was he alive?
No, Disney was Disney was super dead by this point.
Disney the company, not Disney the...
Exactly, sorry.
Okay.
Disney the company, and they were also still wishy-washy about this movie in general. They are to this day. So that part was cut. They wanted it in the longer theatrical cut, like the widescreen version. That's pretty standard. Something that was a little bit of a trick because the camera work for Muppet movies is very precise. Otherwise, you see people like crawling along the ground eating the Muppet. So like they did some bending over backwards to make Disney happy so this movie could go out. Remember, Jim was recently dead. This was Brian's first debut. And on top of that, Richard Hunt, who was a longtime puppeteer for the Jim Henson Company, had also recently passed. This film is also dedicated to him and to Jim. So they were really worried that this would not work.
Okay.
So they really needed Disney to say yes and produce it.
Okay, I can see like where some of this is coming in, because that was my observation of rewatching, is that this movie falls somewhere in between like a stage play and adaptation of a theatrical play, which I know they've done Charles Dickens as a stage play.
Yes. So the other reason why this is a bit weird is Disney at one point claimed to have lost the version with the song.
Oh, sure they did.
They claim that it's gone and we'll never see it. However,
the one who has a whole stash of
a vault
of Disney erotica drawn by their artists in protest.
Yeah, and also just a vault of every movie, whether or not they choose to release from vault. But yeah, no, I also don't think that they ever actually lost it. Because you'll notice that just about every DVD version of this movie has the extra song either built in and not as like an extended cut. It's just like the version of the movie. Okay. Or that extended cut is readily available on the DVD.
And it's because I have the Disney DVD.
However, if you watch this movie on Disney Plus, or if it streams on like ABC, which I know it comes on pretty regularly for their 12 days of Christmas or however many days they're up to now, you'll notice that the song is still cut. Disney still holds the fact that they don't think the song is necessary and or they can't find it.
Disney can suck a giant mouse stick.
So that's part of why this has always been a bit weird. At the time that like everyone who ever worked on this talked about it, they're like, look, the movie got made, we finally got to do Muppets, and look where it took us, we're fine. So, like, no one's really that up in arms from the Henson Corporation, apparently.
Okay, it's just my dumbass.
There's a lot of fellow fans who strongly feel like it's missing, like, that is a critical part of the movie. But that's a fan base thing. The Henson Corporation has never stated that they also feel that way.
Okay.
It's just us.
Alrighty. Okay, so while I do complain about it from the get-go,
sure,
the one thing I do appreciate initially is the sets.
The sets are amazing.
Especially like the miniatures of London. They have like that little bit of just off-kilter where they don't go full German expressionism, but they feel like old school, like just rickety, old-timey.
I love it.
But I do have some questions.
I probably have answers.
Why do the pumpkins talk?
The pumpkins talk because the pumpkins have been a recurring character in the Muppet world for a very long time.
Okay.
They have every vegetable that you can possibly think of because the Swedish chef has cooked every vegetable known to man.
So they eat Muppets like Pokemon eat other Pokemon.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. Yeah, the Swedish chef regularly eats singing food.
So how come some Muppets are more humanistic and others aren't?
Because, so for this movie, they really wanted to not make a full new cast of Muppets from scratch for it like we did with Labyrinth. Labyrinth was a huge production. That was a specialized thing, and it's why it looks so different compared to a lot of other Henson Corporation productions. They were worried financially. This was going to be a big undertaking. They didn't have a ton of time to put this together. So they already were working with what they had. They did, at the end, originally they were going to not even make new puppets for the Ghosts of Christmases. But after looking at what Muppets were available, who their stars were, where they fit better, it was agreed that at least those 3 would be brand new Muppets for the movie.
Okay.
Just about everyone else is reused from somewhere else in the Muppet universe, even if they are not a big player.
Interesting. So, in theory, they could eat the human Muppets. Would it be called Long Muppet?
Probably. Probably. I know that technically, and we don't really have time to get into like the specific divinations of Muppet types, but there are different Muppet puppet types, and the Henson Corporation does categorize them based on like how they are puppeted, if it's a person inside it, how many people it takes to puppet.
So it's like Pokemon, where you have the humanoid species, you have the field species, and sometimes they overlap, and so that's why Miss Piggy and Kermit can breed.
They don't have children.
They do have children.
No, they have.
In this one, they have children.
So in this one, they have fake pig children. Those are not canon children. I want you to imagine this is a play that the Muppets are putting on.
No.
It is.
I know. That's okay.
That's the thing, is the relationships in the Muppet movies, with the exception of very specific Muppet movies, are not canon to the Muppet like lore.
Yeah, so that was my hardest thing to understand and get over with the
Muppets are actors in this.
Yes, that's one thing I didn't understand, and even with like reading the credits, my mind didn't register that
the Muppets are their own people.
Yes, their own personality, kind of like the guy who did Alf was trying to make Alf as something
he tried
beyond.
Too hard.
I know.
He tried too hard. He killed Alf by doing that. I'm going to read you a quote that really summarizes why this movie works as the first ever person-led, like, human cast any Muppet movie. So, Michael Caine was approached to do this film, and he did agree. He was a Muppet fan, and he had wanted to work with them before, but Michael Caine is famously a very composed and traditional actor.
Yeah.
And so he came and said, and I quote, "I'm going to play this movie like I'm working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I'm never going to wink. I will never do anything Muppety. I'm going to play Scrooge as an utterly dramatic role, and there'll be no puppets around me." Yeah. And he did.
So that's exactly the comparison I've heard, is that's why everyone loves this one.
Yes.
It's partially because Caine treats them as fellow actors, whereas Tim Curry and Muppet on Treasure Island, which, by the way, these are the only 2 Muppet movies I know.
They're my favorite, too. No, you've also watched the Oz one. I made you watch it way back in the day. We reviewed it.
Muppet one?
Yes, there is
we did not review it. I know for a fact we haven't.
Okay, well, that's also an option.
I hate you. I hate you so much
right now. The shrimp is Toto in that one. That one's not a good one.
We might have started it, but I don't think we finished it.
Okay, well, I've watched it multiple times. It's garbage.
But I know that Tim Curry and the Muppet on Treasure Island...
He wanted to be his own Muppet.
Yeah, he's his own Muppet. That's why there's the 2 differences between them. I'm probably just being really picky, and I think part of it, too, is like...
Well, and you're not a Muppet person, so you don't know these as actors.
No, exactly. And, like, there's a lot of inside jokes I probably don't get, because, like, the humor in the beginning doesn't make a lot of sense for me. And to me, it doesn't really add to the story, because it's all this just random stuff happening to a classic Charles Dickens story, story. But, like, I think the other thing for me, too, is that because the Muppets are a little bit abstract...
They are.
I have a hard time, like, trying to picture them as actors compared to, like, looking at, like, something like Gintama that has such a wide range of cast of characters, or, like, One Punch Man, but at least they have a unifying art style, and that's the thing I can get behind. Maybe if any of the other Muppet movies are solely Muppets and there's no people.
They are. No, this was the first one to have people in it at all.
I probably could appreciate it. And like, that's the other thing, too, is, like, I think I like Treasure Island a little bit more than I like this, or a lot more than I like this one.
That one definitely had a lot less Muppet-teen to do than this one. It also had a lot, I don't think any new Muppets introduced as far as, like, characters. This one, they were hamming a little bit on people's remembrance of the TV show, because, again, this movie was very fresh. Like, when Jim died, a lot of people knew and took note.
Okay.
So they were playing up the having a few extra Muppets. They were definitely playing off of some of the gags that had been running long jokes on the Muppet Show, which if you ever want to borrow, I have it all on DVD.
I would appreciate that because I really don't want to buy it. So.
No, I have, I think, all but one season. And, like, I think once you see that version, this movie does make more sense if you are completely uninitiated to the Muppet world. Because that also treats all of the Muppets as actors and, like, shows you the behind the set. They have their own stage. Like,
yeah,
it really, like, lends into the story.
It's like when I had my mom watch Final Fantasy VII, or Advent Children, and, like, having to explain, okay, this person's related to this person, that person's related to that person.
And that is part of also why it's important to know who Richard Hunt was as a puppeteer. That doesn't necessarily mean that certain puppets have certain relations, but it does to the fans mean that certain puppets who are always played by the same puppeteer.
Okay.
When, like, example, Jim was always Kermit. Or 99 times, that was Jim's hand in Kermit. And so, like, to have several of your big stars now be played kind of twice, I guess, by a new person, for a lot of fans, this was a big test to see if Brian could do well. So he is pandering a little bit extra to fans, but in the end, it did pay out because this movie, first off, was by fans very well received and has since become quite the cult classic. And on top of that, the writers for this film, Jerry, has been a long-standing writer with the Muppets and also with Sesame Street. He also apparently was very interested in writing, like, a very correct and traditional story of the Christmas character, or the Christmas Carol, which is accidentally why this version of Christmas Carol is one of the closest adaptations to the novella to ever have been written.
Okay, I have questions because maybe this is another thing that annoys me with it is, one, it's a musical.
It is a musical. Granted, the original is a novella that was loosely written in a newspaper, so, like, whatever.
So I question that quote-unquote accuracy since, like, there's such an addition to, like, the musical bits.
There is a lot added with the musical bits. Here's the main things that were changed other than the musical bits.
Okay.
Which, first off, you should know that the costuming for the Muppets alone is incredibly historically accurate. It is impressive, how many Muppets got new costumes just for this movie, and how correct the costumes are, all the way down from having different levels of, like, time and period piece appropriateness for the poor people, all the way up to Scrooge's level of rich assholery, which... Quite the different scale here we have for costuming. Impressive it's this good. The other thing to note is one of the reasons why the novella is such an impactful piece is it is completely written in the first person. An incredibly hard thing to move to film, which is where we get our two narrators who follow us around for the whole movie.
That was another thing I didn't fully understand is, and granted, and I'm guessing, well, quick question.
Sure, I can probably answer.
Is it a musical because there's musical bits within the show itself? I know the show's supposed to be like a variety. It was
a variety act, yeah.
Is that why there's the musical bits everywhere?
Yes, and also having musical bits in it was something that the Muppets already did because... Yes, The Muppets is a variety act, but it is also a comedy piece on not only variety acts, which were also musical-based, but also on puppet acts, which were very popular at the time.
Okay.
There was a lot of puppet acts, not just at the Muppet Times, but beforehand, which we have all pretty much lost, but if you were like me and raised mostly on old people TV and old people who liked puppets, you will remember that there was a grand majority of, like, puppet and ventriloquist acts. Singing was a big part of that.
Okay.
And so the Muppets were a riff on variety act and puppet shows.
Okay, see, I didn't know if it was that or was just something to entertain a tiny human.
Disney liked the musical parts.
Of course they
and
did.
encouraged it. The other Muppet pieces have musicals or have music pieces, but they are not like the star portion of the show, minus the newer pieces. We're ignoring those. Disney has their little fingers in the pie by now.
Yeah.
But Disney encouraged the musical parts, and also Disney wanted to move the Muppets from being a parody for mostly adults to for kids, because they saw the success that Sesame Street had. They didn't want it to be Sesame Street replacement. Obviously, those are two different franchises. They're making both money.
Yeah.
But if we can make the Muppets more family friendly,
Okay.
we're going to make a lot of money.
All right.
So.
I get that. Back to the narrators.
Yes.
I guess that was one of my biggest confusions. And now that I think about it, I don't think I've seen... I might have seen one back in the day, but I can't think of another adaptation of a Christmas Carol, and so maybe that's why I'm a little bit...
I have seen a lot of adaptations. I love the Christmas Carol. I've read the book. I've read the novella multiple times. I've seen just about every version of it. And there are other fun versions of Christmas Carol. Scrooge is one of my favorites. It's very cute. It's a completely new take on it.
Scratch that. I have seen one because Nicolas Cage plays Scrooge.
You have seen one.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, it doesn't have the narrators like the Great Gonzo or Rizzo the Rat, which that's the thing.
It makes it different.
Well,
yeah.
That's the thing is, like, maybe because it's a continuation of the Muppet TV show, I don't fully get it because I don't know those characters. They just kind of seem plucked out of air of like, oh, these two characters because they're the comedic relief characters to be the narrators.
Kind of. Rizzo is definitely, I mean, he's goofy, but he is a little bit more serious.
Okay.
So him having he's kind of the role as the audience in a Greek play where he's meant to heckle back and forth with the narrator.
Okay.
And so having him plus Gonzo, who is a goofy character but is capable and well known for playing a little bit more serious and straightforward roles, they wanted this to be as close to the original writings as they could, and that meant a narrator for the whole movie, not just the beginning and end, which most other Christmas carols don't do. They have a narrator for the beginning to say the famous lines, and then they drop that so that we just follow Scrooge around. This one, we keep that first-person view via Rizzo and Gonzo the whole time. Really impressive to do.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now because, again, I'm coming from this. This is my first like real dive into the Muppets in the least, and I'm confused as hell. I was like, why all this stuff is happening? And it's kind of annoying me because one, I don't like musicals. You got to remember, I watched La La Land, and I got irrationally, vehemently pissed off at the movie in the first 3 minutes because the musical just pissed me off so much. And this one, I could accept a little bit more because it's
spread out.
It's spread out more, and it feels more stage play, and that's for me. That's where I can have that disconnect because I did work in the theater, and I don't like. There are times where I don't like those two like meshing, and that's why musicals piss me off so much, I guess.
Yeah, this one definitely, they lean heavily onto their stage production thing, something that was pretty standard for a Henson production up until pretty recently when the puppetry and the camera work has gotten so good that we can really back that camera away.
That is one thing I can appreciate wholeheartedly from this movie, and from what I'll probably appreciate from the other ones, is the puppetry, because
it's incredibly good.
Going back and watching a lot of the old puppetry movies and stuff, or anything with old puppetry, can be really creepy.
It can be very creepy. As someone whose parents and grandmother specifically had, and if you know the doll, you know the doll. It's a little man with a little wooden mouth that goes up and down and a string on the back, and he's wearing a little suit. You know what show I'm talking about if you know the creepy doll. We had the creepy doll in the house.
I have no clue what you're
talking
about.
I will bring him up later because he's a completely different deep dive for a completely different day.
All right.
But knowing how far puppetry had come, and knowing that we also managed to get an actor who was willing to not only play this seriously, but play it so seriously that the puppets then feel even more realistic because he is making eye contact with them. They are managing to look in the correct places the whole time. They look like they are truly walking to and from. And because at this point we had such a huge cast to pick from the Muppets, we were able to really like cherry pick who would be good for what role.
Okay. So, I do have a couple questions, and I apologize, listeners, to the episode, the MicroView of Chris Explains the Muppets to Nicho over a Christmas holiday.
That's okay.
Why is Sam super American?
Sam is Sam the Eagle.
Okay.
His entire thing is that he is a jab at the over-patriotism of America. Okay. That has been his character the entire time. And because of that, that's kind of the only roles he's capable of playing. But it kind of works every time. Okay.
For me, that was just another out-of-place joke that I'm like, why?
The other thing that you won't know, but those of us who are Muppet fans knew and thought it was a cute, quote-unquote, casting choice, is you'll notice the tiny frog child that Kermit has.
Yeah, Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. That puppet is canonically his nephew, and regularly like comes back to like play like younger roles with Kermit throughout the entire series.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. So he was picked from the get-go. That frog, he was always going to be Tiny Tim.
Okay. So basically for me, the reason I don't get this movie is a lot of it is the Muppets
are actors that you don't know.
Or Muppets and gags from the show that, I don't know. So.
Yeah, unfortunately. And
okay.
Also, this movie came out pretty far into the like Henson production franchise line. So there was a lot that you were already missing.
Well, and I was a year by the time this movie came out, and I didn't grow up on the Muppets. So like there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like I'm trying to get. I want to appreciate this movie and I want to appreciate the Muppets. But
there's a lot to get through.
Exactly, and
it's a lot of lore
to get to it.
No, it's a lot of lore to try and cover, and there's even more now because they now have like live action places that add to it. So like it gets there's a lot. There's so much.
Yeah, but there are a couple things like I do appreciate Kane in this one and his seriousness with it.
Oh yeah, amazing.
And I think that's part of the reason I'm a little ajar with it is that he has that seriousness while everything else around him is so goofy outside of a couple kind of serious moments. But like that's the thing is like there are parts of this that I really do like, especially like the Ghost of Christmas Present or which ones it's the past present's the chubby one, right?
Present is the like large got chubby cheeks Christmas.
I like how they transition him out of the movie and get him older. And I do like their play on like the death ghost, basically.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Very well done. Although of all the Muppets, the Ghost of Christmas Past, she is so freaking creepy.
She is extra creepy, but that's kind of good.
Yeah,
like it kind of adds to like the spookiness of this like ghostness to her, which is something else that like, especially as someone who is specifically a Christmas Carol fan. Something I'm actively looking for is I want that weirdness and off-puttingness to the ghosts.
Okay.
So the fact that the doorknob is legitimately kind of spooky, like it kind of takes you off balance.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the other thing too, is like they have those dark, creepy moments like when he's just going back to his apartment and it's like this really creepy alley and we only have that one shaft of light to get back to Christmas Day when he leaves and it's bright out.
Yeah.
They do... That is the one thing I do appreciate with this movie is that they do all these like little things that make it interesting to watch from like, okay, this is supposed to be kind of a stage.
Yes. And again, as someone who's like a fan of the novella and reads it every couple Christmases just for fun, I like that we add this level of seriousness and also spookiness because it feels like I'm like truly like reimagining what the novella is like because the ghosts in the writing are kind of spooky. Like, it truly is kind of dark and scary and very thinking for a hot second there. And then it does flip very quickly back to being, like, fun and Christmas and cheer. And so it makes sense to have, like, Christmas musicals. Because, honestly, we've kind of also come to associate a lot of Christmas music with being in Christmas movies. Tying it all together, having that, like, vast difference between the two, I really think is a very impressive adaptation.
Yeah.
Especially since it's not like, oh, the one ghost.
Yeah, and I think I need to go down more of a rabbit hole of these because, like I said, I've seen parts of this growing up.
Sure.
But I never sat down and watched it all in one go because I do remember the ghosts. But if it tells you anything, I watched it last year and I really don't remember much of Nicolas Cage's version of Scrooge. The only other one I can think of is the Bill Murray Scrooge.
So that one's a fun one, but a completely different take.
Exactly.
There is an older live action that for a long time was my favorite until I started also getting into like Victorian costuming and then also
like
into the Muppets. Yeah, and then also into the Muppets, and it kind of revamped this one as like number one spot for me. But yeah, all of them are vastly different. But when you're looking at, like, the entire work, the entire piece, this one is such a weird left field choice as far as, like, favorite Christmas Carol adaptation because it's a Muppet piece. It's full of very strange casting. It's got music for no reason. But in the end, when you compile all of the pieces and you really compare them all down, they really hit the nail on the head with a lot of these choices.
Okay.
Even if the choice is a weird one.
Yeah, and especially talking with people over the last year of trying to understand the Muppets, I think I'm getting to getting to understand it quite a bit more.
Yeah, once you like really dive in and start seeing each one of these puppets as standard personalities, knowing that like Fozzie Bear is a caricature of stand-up comedians, and thus him throwing that big Christmas party like makes a lot of sense. Of course he's telling bad jokes. He's a stand-up comedian.
That makes much more sense. And like the only thing I know about Animal is he's loud and he plays the drums.
He is in a band. He is the drummer in a band.
Again, all I know. So
yeah, there's a lot of them, and some of them get cast, especially in later movies, as just kind of whatever, because they are a more side character. They're not a character that recurs very often, or they're easy to like rework in different ways.
Okay.
But some of these casting choices for the Muppets were very smart. Example being the Marley and Marley ghosts. Those two grumpy old ghosts are plays on hecklers at the live shows.
That's one thing I did see, like, because I've seen them in award ceremonies doing that.
Yeah,
so.
that their entire thing is that they are caricatures of hecklers for live performances, and so having them pay and atone for the sins as the two ghosts of the grumpy law firm kind of plays a little bit there.
Okay, makes much more sense then.
Yeah.
So then, Chris, rent by streamer declined that we ever watched the Muppet Christmas Carol, despite having an audio recording of us watching it.
I personally am in the thought of owning, partially because I think Disney's a fucking little bitch, and will continue to claim over and over again, especially as new releases happen, quote unquote, through their vault opening. I think they are going to pare this one down. Yes, it makes them money. Yes, they pull it out every Christmas, but just like a bunch of their Halloween ones, we've seen them try and just like brush it off to the side because it's not whatever their new thing is.
It's not Disney proper.
And this one's out there enough that most people have a version or copy of. They don't reprint this one a whole lot. I do recommend buying this one because it is a great Christmas one. It is a fantastic family-friendly one, unless you're my husband, who unfortunately was terrified of Marley and Marley as a child, and thus didn't watch this one until very recently.
To be fair, I was afraid of the Billy Goat from The Sound of Music.
That's fair. That Billy Goat's terrifying. But this is one that I would keep in the collection, especially since Muppets in general, Disney has a bad habit of just kind of getting rid of whatever was before the current Muppet thing.
Yeah.
I recommend hanging on to them because if Muppets are your thing, it's going to be harder and harder to get a hold of some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and I know people are going to come at me for this, I'm going to say stream.
Uh-huh.
And to caveat, I did try finding joy in it, like Scrooge trying to find joy in Christmas.
Sure.
That's what I've been trying to do with the past couple holiday seasons, because I have to make Christmas special for myself.
Absolutely.
But I'm not a fan of it still.
Sure.
And I get people love this movie. But I still, like, especially if anyone's listened to this last half hour of us talking...
You just don't know the Muppets.
Exactly. I just don't... And
this is the equivalent of us jumping into Bollywood movies and not knowing who any of those actors are.
Which we did.
Which we did. Still had fun, but, like, would I appreciate it more if I truly had watched everyone's repertoire? Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I get it. It's right now, it's not a movie that's for me.
No, that's fair.
It's not something I'm going to put on every holiday season. I'm going to choose some other more serious drama pieces or some garbage horror.
Absolutely. Or you should be aware that maybe there's extra movies for the Christmas Prince series.
God fucking damn it. I do have to play my 12 rom-coms. Well, by the time this is out, I will have planned my 12 rom-coms at Christmas. So I guess I'm diving into more Christmas Prince bullshit this year. So, great.
Hooray! The world expands.
Yeah, but that's our kickoff into the holiday season. We do have another holiday classic that I know
you're gonna absolutely hate, but that's okay.
Oh, no, I have already told people, and they're already pissed off that I don't like that movie. And to y'all, I can say, go shoot your eye out, bitches. So, but anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast, MicroViews.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of the good, the bad, and the weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, The Bad, and The Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.